said buonasera because I'm Italian. As Ra mentioned, now I'm the Director of Business Development for Alibaba.com. So Ra has done an amazing job today, and I think that all of you agree with me. So this is the last session, so I would like to ask Ra to come back on stage, and I would like you to give him a round of applause because he has been an amazing MC today. Ra. Is he coming out? So it's not coming out. Okay, well, he didn't want to come out. Oh, yes, he's coming out. So, Ra, congrats again for this amazing, you've done an amazing job today. So, we are about to deep dive into the future of omnichannel strategies in beauty, food and beverage, and fashion. We have put together an amazing list of panelists, and I will introduce them during the panel discussion because they have amazing presentations, and also they will have presentations. So you will better understand what technologies are changing and reshaping the different channels that all of you are using to sell and source products all over the world. So let's start with Frank. Frank, you are the CEO of the Cosmetology Chicago Association and the CEO of America's Beauty Show. The Cosmetology Chicago Association was founded in 1912. So congrats.
Thank you.
And the America's Beauty Show, and the America Beauty Show just celebrated 100 years.
Yep.
As you know, I work for, so congrats. Every year, the America's Beauty Show puts together an amazing trade shows with more than 200 exhibitors from US, Canada, and Mexico, and also Italy. Mm-hmm. And you have more than 20,000 attendees that every year come to Chicago to discover what's next and what's trendy in the beauty industry. I'm quite familiar with the beauty industry because I was the global marketing director for also one trade show that celebrated recently 50 years. That is a global trade show in the beauty industry. So, Frank, the first question for you will be what technology are you foreseeing that are changing the beauty industry today? And I will add also how this technology are also changing the way that your exhibitors are presenting products during the America's Beauty Show.
Great. Well, first off, thank you so much it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here on this panel of such accomplished executives, and it's an honor to have the opportunity to speak with each and every one of you. So the direct answer to your question is that in America's Beauty Show, we really have a unique perspective on the beauty industry. And as Mattia said, we have been around since 1912. We serve the professional beauty community. And it's really a unique perspective because we see it from both the beauty professional side as well as from the brand side. And as we look forward and we say, okay, what are the trends that we're seeing? How is technology going to impact the beauty space, the beauty industry itself? And there are really 6 trends that we see. And you can see these up here, but I'm going to focus only on one of the trends, and that's digital marketing and e-commerce, because that is probably the one that is most actionable, and I can share with you some key insights that we've experienced and we see within the beauty space and how you can apply it. I will say this, the beauty space is alive and well. So if there are any entrepreneurs out there that are interested in the beauty space, go for it. But you have to go for it knowing some key things. And one of the key things I'll share with you today is simply this. Start the right conversation and tell the right story. Start the right conversation and tell the right story. And you're going to ask yourself, well, what does that have to do with technology? It has everything to do with technology. And we'll go through that. So let's talk a little bit about America's Beauty Show, and most importantly, about beauty professionals and what we see, because their behavior is insight into what you need to be doing and how you need to be thinking about technology within the beauty space. So here's some key behaviors. You know, what we've seen over the years, again, from our vantage point, as a trade association, we look at our attendees, and our attendees purchase, on average, 10 times more than the average consumer in the beauty space. So if you're thinking about getting into the beauty space, think about the professional channel itself. They purchase 10 times more products than the average beauty consumer. The other key thing about our community is they're so passionate about beauty. These are folks that have studied beauty. They've studied the service side and they've studied the product side. So if you're looking for feedback and insight about your products, these are qualified folks to get feedback from. So how does this translate? You know, and what are some key lessons that we can learn from it? So go back to this simple framework of start the right conversation, tell the right story. Over the years, you know, we had to pivot just like everyone else, and we talk about technology, and we talk about digital marketing and e-commerce, and at Cosmetologiata Chicago, we had to make a tremendous pivot. So we've invested significantly in our digital marketing efforts. And I'll just give you some key numbers here and a key lesson learned. You know, every year we send out over 7 million emails. Every year we have over 12 million digital social impressions out there. We leverage geofencing and do very targeted ad campaigns. In addition to all this digital work, we also do some good old-fashioned direct mail. But every year we survey our attendees and we ask them, how did you learn about America's Beauty Show? And here's what they respond. They respond by saying, I heard about the show from a colleague. I heard about the show through a conversation. Through a conversation. Despite all this digital marketing effort, how they heard about the show was through a conversation. So what I'm going to share with you is this. Start the right conversation, tell the right story. The point of convergence is the mobile phone. And we've seen this time and time again. So as you're thinking about your digital strategy, as you're thinking about technology, think about how you're going to start the conversation about your brand on the mobile phone. So here's what it looks like. In our space, here's what it looks like, and here's a path that I'll share with you on the customer journey that you may want to consider. Because for us, we've been working very hard to optimize the customer journey to make sure that it's most efficient. And it looks like this. We talk about tell the right story, or start the right conversation, tell the right story. Well, how do you start the right conversation? Here's a key distinction. Know the difference between a spokesperson and a conversation. Know the difference between a spokesperson and a conversation. A spokesperson is someone that you hire to speak about your brand. And I'll have to share this with you. That's like my generation. That's older, okay?
With you.
What you want are conversations. And what's different is this. There are conversations that are happening on social media right now that you just want to weave your way into and become a part of. It's not that they're spokespeople about your brand. You're just weaving into their conversation. So for us, what we noticed and what we really started to reevaluate our customer journey is that TikTok is where you go to start the conversation about your brand. And this is what it looks like for us. Up on the screen, what you'll see is Bailey Lavender. She's a TikTok influencer. She has a community of over 1 million followers. She's great. And watch what she's doing and watch how she talks about America's Beauty Show. This is not a spokesperson. This is a conversation.
Center. Where is a safe hotel in Rosemont, Illinois? Like, I have no idea where that is and what's safe around there and like what is good and good reviews and like walking distance because
What's Bailey doing? She's putting on her makeup. Her followers, her community are with her every day. And this is her time that she's putting on her makeup and she's having her conversation with her community. we, America's Beauty Show, got weaved into that conversation. And this is subtle. This is subtle. If you don't catch it, I'm just going to challenge you to think about it and think about where conversations are happening on social that you want to be a part of. Think about the friend group when you were younger and you walked up and you tried to work your way into the conversation. Or you overheard another group talking about you during a conversation. How are they talking about you? It's that human nature that you're trying to start in a digital format. And what we're suggesting here, based on our findings, after spending millions of dollars doing digital marketing, is that you leverage your digital marketing to start the right conversation and tell the right story. And the customer journey that I would share with you in this space is you start with TikTok, start the conversation there. When people visit your site, your website, capture their email address so that you can tell the right story through email, and then also leverage that email address to provide targeted ads through Facebook and Instagram and lookalike audiences through Facebook and Instagram, because the conversion happens in those channels. It's a progression, it's a journey. Technology is impacting the beauty industry in every aspect. And there's 6 trends that we see, but the one trend that I wanted to share with you today and everyone is this trend of digital marketing and e-commerce. And my recommendation to each and every one of you, based on our experience, is start the right conversation and tell the right story.
Thanks, Frank.
You bet.
And this is what we are doing also right now. You are presenting, and when I try to explain how this panel discussion was going to be, these speakers were not so confident on having the slides, but I think using digital assets can really engage the audience. So, Robin Raskin. Robin, you are a friend, and we celebrate almost 10 years of friendship, and you have been a mentor of mine. You've been a friend and a mentor. I want to tell you why, because in 2015, I was looking on new partnerships because I was in charge of marketing and partnership, like here in Alibaba. And I saw the CES in Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show, was organizing an amazing conference on beauty tech. And I said, but who is organizing this? And Living in Digital Times was behind this amazing conference. And Robin sold Living in Digital Time to CES just before the pandemic. She came to my show for many years, and we have organized so many panel discussions inviting all the beauty tech companies out there. And you have received recently from the CTA, from the Consumer Technology Association, go ahead with the slides, the Life Achievement Award. So congratulations again. And
thank you.
Robin, you have been a veteran also of the beauty industry and the technology industry. So what's now boiling for the beauty industry and technology?
Well, first I have to thank you for inviting me. I'm no newcomer to this game, for sure, but seeing the energy in this room and the entrepreneurship and the innovation is just fantastic. And I hope the things that I point out are transferable to whether you're making pickleball outfits or golf clubs or chocolates. So I have 7 things. Don't bother writing them down. I have a QR code at the end of this presentation that you can download the whole thing. I'm so glad Frank didn't go through all his points so I can pick up the other 6. So I'll just jump in to this try before you buy. And I'll try and give you specific examples. Try before you buy. You all get returns. Customers are angry that they have to return something. It's a big pain in the neck. But what do you want to know? Is this dress the right color for me? Is this furniture going to look good in my living room? And this is all a combination of AI and AR. I just happened to point out Mimoni. LVMH uses them, Estee Lauder uses them, L'Oreal uses them. They're used for Luxottica, for glasses. And it's on your mobile device, not quite as well as at retail in terms of resolution, but you can take a picture of yourself and dress yourself up in a dress and see if that is really what you want to buy. And it's really powerful. It's going to get better and better. On the other side, I've got ZozoMat. Zozo makes a whole suite of virtual try-on things. But this one is shoes. Shoes are a nuisance, and we're right here in Vegas with Zappos. They know the return rates they get. Everybody buys 40 pairs of shoes and returns 39. So these guys send you a mat, and basically if you have a funny toe or a high arch, they will be able to create a 3D replica of your foot. It's in stores as well as for consumers, and be able to customize and personalize. So this try before you buy is huge. Why am I not moving? There we go. Contactless and friction. So another big problem, every consumer loves frictionless. They want to get out of somewhere quickly, but they also want privacy and protection that their card or their payment method isn't being scanned. There's a company called Wink that I'll point out. Your mobile device is unique to you. It's almost like biologically a part of you. So now when you mix that with voice, which they do, and facial scan, and how your finger tilts across screens, you are more scam-free and verified as a buyer. So you'll see, I used Wink as an example, but you'll see a lot of those. For checkouts, and I love this one, if you've ever been to a line like here in Las Vegas and all you want is a cup of coffee, so Mashgin uses AR and computer recognition, so I can go to a stadium, I can buy a bagel, a pretzel, a French fry, 2 Cokes and a beer, put it on one tray, and check out immediately. With one price, it can scan multiple objects. So you're going to start to see those things at retail as well. Let me move on to Express Checkout. And the next thing I want to show you, you will be people's friends if you can be predictive as well as analytic. Everybody knows they're being recommended a product, but watch this small video from YouTube, from UCAM, Perfect Core, and the way that they analyze skin and then recommend products, because this is going to be so important, and actually medical and beauty are emerging already. So let me play a little bit of this.
As you can see, the program captures all the texture mappings of my skin, then generates a skin health and skin score. The numbers on the bottom can be selected individually to see each of the attributes of your skin. For example, spots, wrinkles, texture, and dark circles. Natural lighting is essential to getting a great skincare reading. You'll also see on the bottom a list of products that are recommended to target these specific concerns. Treatments for spots, wrinkles.
I'll stop it there, but you get the idea. This is prescriptive. This is personalized for you and your skin. Vegas changes everything, we know. You get the dark circles more than ever. But
Powered
the next,
by artificial intelligence.
and here's another
Perso
one
creates
that's
skincare,
prescriptive
liquid
in a
lipstick,
different
and
way.
foundation just for you, on
It's from
demand.
L'Oreal.
Plus, it
Take
gets
a look.
smarter over time. How does it work? In the app, Perso leverages L'Oreal's Modiface technology to evaluate your skin. Then it assesses important environmental factors like pollution, air quality, and humidity. Perso even considers your top skincare concerns and priorities. Next, it engages its patented 3-cartridge system, using advanced robotics to dispense the perfect formula for you.
So they've actually built a product that dispenses a formula based on cartridges in the product for your skin. And they're also looking at variables in the atmosphere. So you can have not just an app to sell your product, but actually have a product itself. And it has some AI in it, so it will learn about lighting, it will learn if you can tell it if you're going out in the evening, you may want more foundation. So this is what's happening in technology now. Somebody else is going to talk about the metaverse, so I'll just deal with it very briefly. It's become a bit of a like a dirty word. People don't use it as much because it had some early failures. It's there. The top luxury brands are using it. Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, and in different ways. Some are actually making more money selling you digital goods for your avatars than going out and buying something real. Others, like Tommy Hilfiger, will let you go buy an NFT in the universe for their fall collection, and then you can go back and redeem the NFT for real merchandise. They're using it for loyalty rewards. Don't discount the metaverse. Look at Roblox as a great example. Forever 21 is there. Gucci's there. And look at Fortnite, how much they've monetized it. But I will pass and let that one, there's Fortnite, and just to give you an idea. You just heard about influencers from my good friend Frank here. Really, community. The difference between my generation and yours is you are content overloaded and community starved. And if you can create communities around your product, and I do this all the time. I reach out to people and say, you like my newsletter? Can I ask you why? Don't be afraid to reach out to the influencers and tap into their know-how. They are your best. And yes, they deserve to get paid, but they don't cost what Reese Witherspoon would cost, right? So social commerce links. And then I finally want to end with synthetic humans. Using real actors and live cameras and video shoots are very expensive. We will start to use and see synthetic humans. The trick is, watch, they don't breathe. But I'll show you, this is Synthesia. There are a number of products like this that can cut your production time down. Great for tutorials. And you can see.
Hello everyone and welcome.
See, she's
I'm
not
your
breathing.
host for today, speaking on behalf of
But
Fresh
she will.
Fizz, the leading brand in thirst-quenching soft drinks. We're diving into the vibrant world of omni-channel retail, exploring how we can optimize customer journeys. Let's get started. Step one is to understand our customers' behavior.
So I won't take you through this whole video again, but you should definitely watch it because she takes you through a retail example of a synthetic human, from customer analysis to post-analysis, and the company is Synthesia. There's also, if you go to my website there's DID, there's so many products that are creating synthetic humans that look really good. And so if you do, we used to pay a guy to come in and do the same thing every day, to just say, this is the website, and this is how you get around, and here are the rules of engagement. We don't have to do that anymore, and we don't have to waste anybody's time. We offloaded that to synthetic humans. So hopefully that's a really quick look at some of the technologies, both physical and virtual, online and offline, that you will start to see. And with that,
You can pass
I hope
it
you
to
use our
Peter.
resources. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. So in this panel, we are understanding how technology is changing the different omnichannels. And Peter is using Alibaba.com. So I would like to introduce him with a video that our amazing marketing team shot just 3 weeks ago at your factory. So if you can click, there is a video for all of you.
My name is Peter Crabtree, and I'm the CEO and visionary for Crabtree Brands, which is a group of food and beverage companies based in Paulsboro, Washington. So when you first enter to the right, you find Chocmo, Chocolatier, and Cafe. So that's really where we do all of our different chocolate production, all the way from bean to bar. We do between $5 and $10 million annually in sales. We do lots of local business and lots of business that we ship throughout the state and throughout the country. I used to only source knickknacks or anything that wasn't very essential to our business through Alibaba.com. So as Alibaba.com added the trade assurance program, that was really what led me to consider that as a more legitimate source for more important things for my business. 100% of our orders that we do on Alibaba.com are protected through trade assurance. I actually only buy from suppliers that participate in the trade assurance program. So that's really where Alibaba.com has helped. I've been able to connect with more custom manufacturers and able to get them the product that we actually want as opposed to having to settle for something that was close. I would definitely recommend that all Alibaba.com buyers use trade assurance, and it really builds confidence, especially for first-time customers. It's the #1 thing that's made me feel more confident in buying products.
So what an amazing video. Congrats again to our marketing team, and congratulations, Peter. So next, what's cooking in terms of trends in the food and beverage industry?
So we're really focused on a few things around that. So on my thing here. So yeah, so trends that we're following in particular right now. The biggest one for us, and that's most essential to our story overall, is traceability. So we work really hard to make sure that we know where all of our ingredients come from, where all of the components of a various package are going to come from, and are able to really tell that story throughout the thing. Other ones are, I can't quite read my small, what did I put on here? Sustainability is definitely important. It's a word that I think is misused and misunderstood a lot by many consumers, but it's something that it's essential to the kind of brand story and being important to more and more customers all the time.
Social purpose.
Social purpose, thank you. Yeah, so consumers really like things that have a social purpose. So if something is if something you're doing has a social purpose, has something that matters, I think it's really important to do that, and that takes us into story. So does your product have a story? All the way down to the halibut on our plate at the restaurant we get off my cousin's boat. So I can tell you the exact person that caught it, where it was caught, what day they caught it, all the bits, and that makes a big difference. So traceability. I put some various stuff on this screen that you can read, but I'll just talk about what that really means. What that really means inside of our company. So to us, that has to do with where are we sourcing products. So in 2018, we started a meat company called Neighbors Meats. That then is the vessel through which that we bring in all of the proteins that we serve on our menu at the restaurant. So we work with suppliers directly. We have our own farm where we raise our own beef cattle for the restaurant, and that comes in through that. We have a pork farmer that raises pigs for us. We take 100% of their production, so we know exactly what the pigs are, what the breeding is of the pigs, all the bits. The photo that's there on the screen is actually from our neighboring farm, where we get a large amount of our produce for the restaurant. So that's some of their produce that we bring in for that. And then really being able to know where something comes from, being able to tell that story to the customer and be able to provide that connection. Because I think that's the most important thing that for us that consumers are really looking for, is they want to be connected, they want to know the story, and they want to be able to do that. Sustainable. So sustainability, as I mentioned, is I think somewhat misused and misunderstood. It's a word that gets tossed around a lot, but what does it really mean? So to us, it means being able to do no harm to start with. That's your very baseline. How can you be less awful? And then from there, what can you do to actually use a product to make a positive change? So we look at that throughout our entire value chain, and that's part of why we've continued to integrate more of the value chain into our business rather than outsourcing everything. We try to partner with or acquire the businesses that are doing the things that we need for our company, so that we can have control over that value chain, and we can control how that's all operating and do that in a method that is not just being less awful, but actually trying to make positive changes, and working towards actually being regenerative as opposed to merely sustainable.
Yeah, also in Alibaba you can search products, ingredients based on certification, what kind of certification they have. So it's very easy. So if you're looking for an organic product, a cruelty-free product, you can just browse, and there is a filter, and you can filter all the products, ingredients based on the different certification that these products have.
Yeah. And then on sustainability, we've really found that for some things, consumers are willing to pay whatever the extra is to have that be, all of our to-go containers for the restaurant, for instance, are all compostable. And people don't mind that we've added an upcharge for that because they're willing to pay for that. And other products, they're just going to expect that you're going to do those things because that's become an industry standard. So knowing where that line is and what things you can pass that cost along to the consumer on, and what things you just have to eat, I think is important too. Social purpose. So if you're going to launch a product that has a social purpose, I think it's really important that you have that be a real thing. So for instance, we do a box of chocolates, for instance, it's a 12-piece box of chocolates. $3 from every one of those boxes sold goes to our local food bank, and they're really a lot more than a food bank, but it goes to our local food bank to help with their kids' services that they provide to the community. So we're very upfront about that product. Not only does it do all the other things that are important to us in our company, but a specific dollar amount from every single one of those purchases goes to solving that social purpose and making that positive change that we want to do. So that's something that I think is, we're seeing it more and more out there in the world, and it's another thing that gets people not only excited about your brand, but it gives me more meaning for what we're actually doing, and I get to feel like we're actually trying to, not just do no harm, but solve things and use the for-profit business that we run to actually achieve the goals and the changes that we want to see in the world.
Okay, Peter, we don't have any more time left to discuss about the other trends, but as we mentioned, the presentation will be available. So thanks a lot. These are trends that are really shaping your strategy to go to the market. So thanks a lot, and thanks also to be one of our ambassadors here at Alibaba.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, let's go from beauty. We discussed about food and beverage, and now we are going into fashion. And I'm very pleased to introduce you Alex Helander. He is the Global Supplier Relationship Consultant for Fashion Mingle, but he's also a professor at Parsons. He's a professor at FIT. We were discussing about possible future collaborations in the future. So how technology is changing the fashion industry. And I know the Fashion Mingle organized. If you don't know Fashion Mingle, go and check who they are. They are the LinkedIn of fashion. If you want to know who's who in the fashion industry, you can refer to Fashion Mingle. They have thousands of companies in their directory. So tell us more.
Well, thank you for having me. And I have to say that I love the co-create theme for this event, because I feel at Fashion Mingle, we're all about co-creating. We've been co-creating since we incorporated. We're a global platform of fashion professionals that provide services and resources to build your business as well as your career. So thank you. So the fashion show and how we communicate, I'm glad that Frank and Robin both mentioned storytelling, because that really is fashion, what a fashion show is about. It's a cohesive narrative that brings out the ability for brands to talk about their inspirations, their values, and their design collections, of course. and taking that narrative across channels such as their websites, social media, and their retail stores. The second component of that is the visual aspect of it, and technology has really enhanced the ability to take content, cut it up, again, disperse it across social media channels, websites, and in-store displays so that there's a consistency on that message from the inception all the way through presentation. It's a showcase, right? If you think about brands like Ralph Lauren, Ralph has been telling the same story for 50 years. You know it when you see it, you're familiar with it, he brings you into his world, you're aspirationally there. If you're not a buyer of Ralph, you aspirationally can live in that world. He is leveraging technology, as are some of his counterparts. Robin mentioned Tommy Hilfiger, for example, leveraging technology in that way as well. So the future of fashion really exists in the digital space, and that is leveraging technology such as live streaming. Never before have brands been able to access more and more users, more and more eyeballs than they have today through digital, through things like live stream. It's a way for engagement with customers. The fashion show as a standalone from a historical perspective, was very highly curated, right? You weren't invited to those fashion shows unless you were part of the industry. You weren't able to attend unless you were an editor of a magazine. And now, today's fashion shows, you're just as likely to see influencers sitting in the front row as you are editors of magazines or trade people. And instantaneously, through channels such as live stream and digital displays, you can participate in those fashion shows. I have two examples of that. One is Rihanna and her association with Fenty and her Savage brand. You may be familiar that she partnered with Amazon. And that really reads part fashion show, part music video, part movie. It's a high level production event that's broadcast by Amazon. It's downloadable, it's reloadable. There's billions of people have seen her shows over the last several years. And more importantly, it captures data on an audience, which again is the power of digital. So audience members can participate, they can comment on that show, and in some cases, they can purchase content right away. So again, the old show, you'd have to wait 6-9 months for delivery of the product into your retail stores. And today, there's an immediacy to that. The other one is Pharrell Williams, most recently creative director for LV, had his first fashion show in Paris in November. Again, leveraged a lot of technology to put that show on and was seen by millions of people. That's not something that would have existed. But most importantly, there's a cohesiveness on his storytelling, there's a cohesiveness on Rihanna's storytelling, and there's a cohesiveness on Ralph's storytelling, all different ways to approach the fashion show, but all accomplishing the same goal. That narrative is consistent and threads through every single channel that they employ.
Go ahead. Thanks.
I won't play the whole thing for purposes of time, but you get the message. This is a high production value over in Paris last November. And that brings us to the metaverse, which, as Robin said, is not a dirty word, but it is an important word because it's new. It's a new day. And the great thing about fashion, not only do we have a reason to purchase something new all the time, and the brands are always pushing us to do something that we didn't even think of before, right? And aspirationally we want. But the metaverse is really leading the way for fashion brands to think differently. And those aren't just new brands. Traditional brands such as Tommy Hilfiger, such as Ralph Lauren, are figuring ways to leverage the metaverse. The gaming industry has already been there. So in this case, you have Ralph Lauren ideating a home to showcase furniture that you can walk through and take a look at and hopefully purchase, right? So a very storied brand leveraging technology, brand new technology. For you gamers, you would recognize Fortnite and a partnership with Polo. And here's a cool combination where Fortnite and Polo got together, designed product for the game, and then made certain items available. So the boots that you saw in that clip were made available for sale, sold out immediately. You have companies or brands like Carolina Herrera, who made a dress, made the digital version of that dress, and the digital dress sold for 4x more than the actual physical garment. So you can see a world where, as you're dressing your avatars, and because I educate students at some of the top universities for fashion in this country, I can tell you right now there's classes for digital designers. Those designers are only intending to design in the digital world. So, I mean, who doesn't want to look fabulous as an avatar wearing your Balenciaga or your LVs, right? And people are paying for that. And they're paying a lot of good money, and there's even a secondary exchange for that. So sell your digital clothes. You're tired of wearing it, sell it. Some of our members are already there on Fashion Mingle. For those of you that are not in fashion but are always bringing together ideas, scraps of ideas, there's a digital mood board here on Make the Dot where you can digitally cut and clip imagery off of the web, create your visual boards, and then utilize those boards in communicating with suppliers if you so choose. Meta Burnett is fusing both the physical and the digital as Phygital, so you can take 3D renderings, bring them to life, bring them into a fashion show, and actually create product from that, and NFTs. Again, mixing the virtual with digital with physical. I could see a day maybe where Alibaba takes some of its suppliers and hosts a live stream event for fashion for an audience, a global audience of buyers, and connects buyers and sellers in a way that doesn't exist today, maybe even making the sellers the brand.
Thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.
It was a very interesting presentation, and I think you got to the point where technology is also reshaping this channel. Paris, you are the last one. Mintel, many of you probably know, Mintel is the global leader in market intelligence. Paris Hogan is the director of consulting and Mintel here in the USA. And for you, I have a question. What are the consumer trends we should be watching like today?
Yeah. So as you know, kind of everyone up here talked about, we talked about fashion, we talked about the digital experience, chocolate, and all those things that they have in common are consumers. And we can never forget about consumers. And at Mintel, we are experts in what consumers want and why. And just a little bit about Mintel, we are experts in research, strategy, data, and we actually have a consumer panel base that we talk to thousands of consumers each and every day about their lifestyles, behaviors, wants, wish fors, preferences, along with across 86 global markets, we have shoppers who go into the stores and search and track each and every new product that hits the shelves. So we know consumers, we know what they want, and we know why. And in order to understand that, we need to understand the retail landscape. And the retail landscape of today is complex. Consumers are so overwhelmed, tired and overwhelmed. I'm sure nothing that you can relate to, but they're tired, they're overwhelmed. They have so many different choices in front of them, even just seeing all of the different digital and online options that we've talked through today. They have so much data and research at their fingertips, and they're looking for brands to cut through the clutter and cut through the noise. They want those shortcuts in order to get there, and so what do they want? They want simplicity. And so if we think about the retail landscape, it used to be that consumers would go into a brick and mortar store. They'd see a shelf set, and it was a lot easier to make these different choices. Now, consumers start online. They research brands and products as much as possible. They price compare. They look at reviews. And this can be really difficult. There's so much in front of them, and they need brands to simplify this process. They're looking for brands to seamlessly integrate into their lives. They're looking for brands, most importantly, to take away the hurdles and challenges instead of adding to them. thinking about some brand examples who really did lean into the simplify strategy. I'm not going to go through all of these examples, but one that was actually talked about earlier today is Etsy. So Etsy released a virtual app that you can take photos of products in real life, and it'll bring up a search engine into being able to find those on Etsy. So being able to kind of shop in real time and simplify that process. And if we're thinking about the brand ecosystem, the product is the souvenir. So people are looking to collect products. They're looking to buy products to add to their sense of self-identity, self-expression. And if the product is the souvenir, that means that the brand is the experience. And consumers crave experiences. They want to feel joy. They want to feel escapism. They want to feel nostalgia by buying your product. And so they look to the brands to create these experiences. So consumers want to be sustainable, so they buy sustainable products. They want to feel nostalgia, so they buy nostalgic products. They want people to think that they live a healthy lifestyle and lean into health and wellness, so they buy products that represent this. And so it's really on the onus of the brand to create these types of experiences. And not only are consumers looking for experiences as a whole, but they're looking for authenticity throughout their experiences. Consumers no longer just shop organic at the supermarket. They look for organic content and authentic content from the brands and experiences that they buy each and every day. And so this means partnering with authentic influencers and creating that authentic and organic content. We're seeing a trend towards a lot of brands ditching the big maximalist campaigns and leaning into the small, niche, and natural. So who you partner with makes a really big difference. Some examples of brands who have done a great job to fuel this sense of self-identity and expression. I'm going to highlight Kirkland and Dunkin' Donuts. So venturing into categories that are a little bit unexpected. So they obviously don't specialize in the apparel category, but they are now these emblems of style, especially for Gen Z consumers, who are able to buy these products and really live that brand experience. So constantly think about how can you engage consumers in new ways through new categories. Who knew that it would be cool to buy your groceries at the same place that you buy your clothing, but Gen Z has really showed us that that is on trend. And so it's also important to think about that influencer strategy. And a great example of this is the Prime sports and energy drink brand, who not only went after an untapped segment of kind of teenagers, but also leaning into a little bit of a niche sport of boxing. So they partnered with Logan Paul, and the products were so successful, stores across the US could not keep them stocked. And the brand has proved really successful through this partnership. So it's really important to know your audience, know where your audience is, and be able to create that kind of partnership. And so throughout this, you can kind of see the purchase journey is evolving, and consumers are expecting you to meet them where they are. And where consumers are, and where I'd say 75% of this room is on their smartphone. And so meeting them where they are and thinking about these new social frontiers we're entering, such as social media. We've talked a lot about TikTok and other platforms, Instagram. Knowing where your consumers are and meeting them there is really important. Because what consumers want is engagement. They want interactive experiences. They want engaging experiences throughout every part of the purchase journey, and they're expecting brands to meet them there. At Mintel, we talk a lot about social selling, and we've seen a trend towards that social selling could be the #1 commerce platform in the next 5 to 10 years. And so if you're not thinking about social media, you need to start. And when it comes to social media as a whole, you really can't cut corners. You need to know who your audience is. You need to know which social channels they're on and appeal to them through an authentic tone of voice and make sure that you're really meeting their needs. Just some brands who have done this really well, thinking about engaging those consumers and bringing them into the content. The brands Depop and Havaiana have really shown that leaning into these consumer trends and staying attuned to them will help build that brand. So Depop is a vintage secondhand clothing seller, and they leaned into the FOMO, fear of missing out trend by reframing secondhand clothes as one-of-a-kind experiences that no one else can get. and they touted this on social media. The brand Haviana does a great job of showing real life products through their content. And so every time a consumer posts about their brand, they repost that to show you what it would be like to wear their products in the real world. So just making sure that you're really engaging consumers at every single touch point. And you do want to better meet consumer needs. You want to simplify the process, you want to create authentic experiences, and you want to engage at every touch point.
So thanks a lot, Paris.
Yeah.
So at Alibaba.com, we strongly believe that a brand should follow an omnichannel strategy. That's why we organized this panel tonight as the last session of today. So we have a trade show, retailers, we heard about consumers, fashion shows, and how also your brand should follow and stay updated on the latest technology that are reshaping and updating these channels. And that's why my team is creating partnerships with different trade shows, associations, research agencies to support your brands that are selling or sourcing on Alibaba.com to go global and to make your business easy everywhere in the world. So thanks a lot for this panel. Thank all of you for staying up till 6 p.m. with us.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Ra, I'll give it back to you for the final closure.